Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Anis Anwar. I'm student of University of Muhammadiyah Semarang, and I take concept a statistic department. And today I will give a critical review about survival analysis with extend cost model about durability, debtor, effort on credit risk. Author Iwan Kurniawan, Anang Kurnia, and Bagus Sartono. From Department of Statistics, Bogor Agricultural University, Indonesia. In the study, the diagnosis of durability, debtor, effort on credit risk by using survival analysis with extend cost model. The vehicles are the most needed transportation. The motors are personal transportation that are often used by the people. Motor chosen because the price is affordable by our society. Given the easy credit also makes some people take the decision to take the motor credits. Credit risk can be minimized by selective against the debtor that want to credit. The use of model is one of the alternatives to determine the factor that affect the debtor fails to meet its obligation to make payment. Factors that influence the failure of the debtor to fulfill its obligation can be modeled using survival analysis. Semi-parametric cost regression is one of the survival methods that mostly used in the survival analysis. Some of the reason cost regression is the method can estimate hazard ratio without the need to know the baseline hazard function. Can estimate the baseline hazard function, survival and function of baseline hazard function, although not specific. Cost models are similar to the result of parametric models. Based the limitation of the assumption, the alternative to the cost model regression. Some of them stratification and extended cost models with a variable time no extend cost. The journal's data is secondary data obtained from one of the credit motorcycle financing company in Indonesia. Data consists of 22,737 customers loan motorcycle. One of the branches were observed from the period to January 2008 to June 2011, 42 months. A debtor is said to be jump credit if they do not pay the installment with 30 days after due date. The data consists of 16 explanation variable and the response variable. X1 motor type, X2 fixed pawn, X3 pawn ownership, X4 a down payment or advance, X5 loan period, X6 danger, X7 income, X8 total income, X9 installment payment, X10 home ownership, X11 marital status, X20 amountability, X13 graduate education finance, X14 occupation, X15 type of income, and X16 age. From explanatory variable, we know the author want to do the research in deals. In this journal, the author is very good, presenting data and fact by completing its previous research. The author also given a little explanation of the internship between the sub-selection discussed implicitly. In the journal, the author has presented the explanation quite well because the discussion has been divided into similar subsections, making it easier for readers to understand the content of the writing. However, in the introduction or beginning of the article, the author is not very good because the author does not provide inclusion explanation about the subsection that will be discussed in a structured manner. Instead, the author gives an introduction at the beginning and inform the reader about what actually will be discussed in the paper. Because if the reader reads introduction, the reader will get a picture of the writing. From the previous explanation, some conclusion can be drawn first. The subject of the writing is interesting because the topics raised occur in many countries where our credit risk can be minimized by selective against the debtor that want to credit. Both completed are able to explanation the meaning of purpose of writing that is made using a good writing systematic. I took some part of the case occur repetition. The three conclusions given by the compiler are quite good, although the conclusions do not explain the part of this writing. Finally, the review provided by the author is very useful to gather the reader's insight on credit risk and survival analysis, which we might often experience as statistics and can also be used as consideration for evaluating to take credit risks. I think that's all about critical review about survival analysis with extended code model about durability, debtor efforts on credit risks. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.